No, I have. I've spent a lot of time studying, and I love what I'm doing. I'm physically able to do it. There aren't many people doing it, and I want to do it as much as I can.
I would have to. I mean, my spiritual director and I talked about it. And she said you have to really be open to the process. So,
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what happens.
Yeah. I mean, and certainly I will listen, but I'm not in the place I was 4 years ago where I was, oh my God, it's just, and then I was shocked. See what we can do. Did 4 years ago, and that night I was like, oh, wow, that's the wing. And, but I just knew it wasn't right. And I feel that way. It's like it doesn't. Before I didn't think it was going to happen, so I was surprised when it did. But now I think even if it does, I know what I need. Because I have 12 retreats scheduled next year. I've got 5 more this year. So it's like, and it's a big one. You could do one every other. This is.
And I feel too, part of my thing is I do want to finish this degree.
Right, yeah.
So it's all in the movement of the spirit,
One person assumes responsibility. Judah, hi.
Hi. Tomorrow. But you're helping us sing the song. I'll show you tonight what we're reading. She's going to convene and then do the attendance.
Okay. So, were you announced that they
You could have texted me. I told Liz I would take you to the airport.
Yeah, she keeps back your text and that's about it.
And so I told her, whatever time you want to go.
My plane is at 6. So she scheduled me to leave at 2:30. I don't know what the thing is, but 2:30 works for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you guys are
No, we're going to do it right now.
So let's see. So
Wait, she's going to...
we're going to stand. We're going to have Judith stand with guitar and the mic. We can share this one.
They're gonna welcome everybody, and
So
then
maybe
have
two of
people
us
do.
stand on one side and Judith can stand on the other side. Yes. And I'll share
Muito. Tá ligado?
and hear what she's saying. Good. No. But be sure. We keep going.
I invite you forward to the table, sisters and associates. Oh, the lunch hour was a bit lovely, which was very nice. And we are blessed with beautiful weather. So now we turn our energies to the afternoon. I would ask that you immediately complete the attendance form at your table. 2 tables have raised concern that when they filled out the forms, there were people absent from their tables, and ought they hold onto the attendance form. We are asking that you not do that you complete the form now, and please take it to the recording secretary table. And then if anyone needs to go to that table at some point, they will do that. So please, if you could do that immediately. Okay, now then we're going to pray. Let me just get these up here and out of here. This is nice. We're going to have some music. I'll find James.
Yep, you're doing a great job.
Change my clothes unless they do.
You're doing a great job.
Well, I think people are in great form, don't you think?
Yes.
Very good getting here on time.
Incredibly good. Yeah, well, what happens is when you start backsliding, the mission keeps cutting away.
Yes, yes.
And people can't be sensitive.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. Is any table needing time?
Should be here 5 minutes before session starts.
Thank you, one and all. We now gather in prayer.
We would like to invite you to sing with us the Peace Prayer by the Jesuits. So could you please turn in your worship book to page 6. Page 6 in the worship book. We'll sing verse 1, 2, and 3. Page 6 in the worship book.
Lord, make me a means of your peace. Where there's hatred grown, let me sow your love. Where there's injury, Lord, let forgiveness be my soul. Lord, make me a means of your peace. Lord, make me a means of your peace. Where there's doubt and fear, let me sow your light. In this world's despair, give me hope in you to share. Lord, make me a means of your peace. Lord, make me a means of your peace. When there's sadness here, let me sow your love. When the darkness nears, may your light dispel our fear. Lord,
And now, sisters and associates and our brothers, we transition to the chapter agenda topic of mission and ministry. Tomorrow we'll receive emerging forms, and on Saturday our sister Mother Earth. So you will feel yourself moving into those very specific dialogues regarding essential matters of Franciscan spirituality. And Gwen will introduce our speaker.
Kathy Euler entered our congregation in pre-Vatican 1959. Here are some of the things you may not know about Kathy. She earned a PhD in philosophy from Georgetown University and then taught medical ethics and peace studies, among other courses, at Georgetown, the University of Scranton, and right here at St. Bonaventure University. Kathy also was academic dean of the Franciscan-conducted Christ the King Seminary in East Aurora, New York. Other ministries include Executive Director of the Center for Justice of Buffalo, New York, Executive Director of Franciscans International, a non-governmental advocacy organization at the United Nations from 1993 to 2001, and again from 2008 to 2011. Also, she served as assistant to the Executive Director of Catholic Mobilizing Network to end the use of the death penalty in Washington, D.C. Kathy served with Christian peacemaker teams in Hebron, the West Bank, in Palestine, from 2002 to 2008. The CPT Hebron team helps reduce violence among the Israeli settlers and soldiers and the Palestinian Muslims. Relatedly, yesterday, it was noted in Sister Mary Lawrence's obituary that she participated in the delegation to Hebron that Kathy led in 2006. Sister Mary Lawrence was 86 years old then. In 2013, Kathy began work to establish a house of prayer for all people in the West Bank, Palestine. This work is her response to a dream beginning in her years with the CPT. The project continues to this day, although Kathy has been banned from entry into Israel for 5 years. The last comment is too long a story to be told at this time. I am pleased to welcome Kathy.
Thank you, Gwen. You must have Googled me. Is this okay? Good? Is this better? Okay. Yeah, I entered pre-Vatican, and among my bandmates, there was one older and wiser than all of the rest of us. Charlotte, there you go, Charlotte O'Brien. And one day Charlotte said, you know, some days it takes a lot of humility to walk in front of a classroom. And that's kind of how I feel today, except, of course, this isn't a classroom. This is a room full of my peers, my colleagues and friends, and my betters, and leaders and heroines, and maybe some new heroes, newly
newly met heroes. So I introduce my talk today on mission and ministry with those words, and repeating this morning's prayer theme: who will serve if we don't? We have chosen for our chapter logo and theme the metaphor of fire, a heart on fire. Were not our hearts burning within us? Right? Sergio Fuego, right? Stay el fuego, be the fire. So I want to bring in Brother Fire to this chapter. This is how. Come on. Oh, shoot. My goodness. There we go. Oh, praise be yours, my Lord, through Brother Fire, through whom you brighten up the night. How beautiful he is, and playful, and robust, and strong. So, Brother Fire is the personification of our hearts on fire. And Brother Fire can serve as our guide as we go through this meditation, reflection on mission and ministry. And what I think is more important, in meditating in Brother Fire's way, we may be able to come more in touch with that archetype within us that will help us to release more energy and imagination and fire within us. And first of all, Brother Fire needs to know what our mission is. And Fray Vittorio has spoken about this and reminded us this is our mission. We, the Franciscan Sisters of Allegany, maybe we could all say it together, seek to live Okay, thank you. Our mission statement is closely allied with the third order regular charism, and it relates closely in the core values of the third order regular charism of contemplation, poverty, minority, and continuous conversion. You may recognize those titles as the ones that are found in our Franciscan morning and evening praise. And when I was preparing this, I looked high and low for a definition of the TOR charism per se, and I really couldn't find it. But these are the core values. Yeah, there they are. When we think about the core values of our mission, charism, third order regular charism, what sets our heart on fire? And what would turn on Brother Fire? Okay. So, contemplation. Contemplation is a prayer of the night. And Brother Fire brightens up the night. The image of fire and the image of night go together. Let's look at poverty, as Brother Fire might. Choosing the radiant beauty of the penitential life. This is a paradox, but this is the way Brother Fire would see poverty. Minority, as sisters and brothers to all, freely interrelating, serving joyfully, even playfully, on the margins. And continuous conversion. This is turning towards forgiveness and striving to be reconcilers. And Brother Fire would do this with an ardent inner strength. Okay, I'm just trying to root these things that are very dear to us in the metaphor of fire with Brother Fire. So what sets our hearts on fire? What would Brother Fire, what would turn him on? Now let's consider what some of our sisters and associates noted in the CDCs, the circles, the contemplative dialogue circles, okay? And that was our question. That was our question. What is setting your hearts on fire? Remember that? Okay. Now, as part of the CPC, the Chapter Planning Committee, we went through all of your responses. I went through all of the responses from Mission and Ministry. And so I pulled out of them, trying to use your words as much as I can, and how they relate to each of these 4 core values, okay? So to show you that we're kind of thinking kind of all along these lines together. Let's see. Yeah. Contemplation. For some in the CDCs, they said there is a contemplative desire to go deeper into the darkness, into the Gospels of Jesus and the life of Francis, to experience more fully what they heard and saw and felt. For some others, the fire and night of their contemplative prayer prepares them to resist watering down the hard sayings of the gospel. Now, looking at poverty, from the CDC, some of the responses noted the Pope's call in the joy of the gospel and Laudato Si. Some feel energized to entice others into the beauty of our penitential life of reconciliation, mercy, and peace. And there's also was expressed a current that supports members to commit to more urgent situations on the frontiers of society and to start something new. Some of you might recognize some of these phrases as the ones you put in. Minority. Several spoke of the importance of being sister to all as equals, of being at home, comfortable on the margins, lighthearted, serving and sharing. Continuous conversion. There was also expressed a desire to act boldly with courage and freedom with others. Some want to be more realistic about their energies and to risk the unknown by finding new ways to work with other persons or groups. And many desire to be open to new ways of being a fruitful presence in elder years. As one group put it more or less, startling things can happen over a cup of tea. And all of that speaks to conversion. And that should introduce Brother Fire to our own mission. Let me see, is that 4? Yeah. To our mission on his terms, so to speak. Now, moving along, how, as Brother Fire, with our hearts on fire, might we discern our ministries as St. Clare taught in this 4-step? Now, this was also reviewed by Carmelita the other day. But we are going to embody this throughout this chapter in our lives as well. So we will gaze, consider, contemplate, and imitate the meaning or heart of our present ministry paths. Okay? So I want you to say with me, Yo soy hermano fuego. Yo soy hermano fuego. I am Brother Fire. All right. Now, we are all Brother Fire. We are gazing now unflinchingly with our ardor and passion to face the Christ incarnate in our world, to experience what Jesus and Francis heard and felt and saw in the cry of the poor, cry of the earth, of refugees, the trafficked, the unemployed, to feel our robust power and energy starting to rise in our soul. I think this morning's prayer DVD gave us this as well. We feel an emotion when we think about these situations. This is for gazing unflinchingly with ardor and passion, okay? And energy comes. Now we move to consideration. With all these things, consider them in the firelight of our Franciscan spirituality, which Fray Vittorio opened for us so beautifully, strongly at the beginning of our chapter. What does all of this that he mentioned and that we reviewed have to say? The incarnational theology about the word being uttered in every creature, for example. The documents of the Church, as Pope Francis has put them out for us, Laudato Si, the Joy of the Gospel. How, considering as a Brother Fire might, how might we dare, and even as St. Francis did with the Sultan, to turn our transformative power, this consideration of fire, a fire that does not burn, on the people espousing extreme religious violence in our day. So how, as Brother Fire, would we look at all of these things in the light of what we believe, of our faith, of our spirituality? Contemplation now. Contemplate, as I am Brother Fire and I'm contemplating. In the words of St. Bonaventure, quote, "Let us impose silence upon our cares, our desires, and our imaginings. Let us then die to self and enter into the darkness." That's from the Itinerarium. Here, at this step, we, or I as Brother Fire, we as Brother Fire, can catch hold or illuminate the mystery in all things. These are the things that we gazed at and then considered, and now we're entering into their mystery. I lose myself in this, and I move from the I to the we. Losing my moorings, I'm moving into the we, and then I can move from the we into the they. I can cross over into those people, right? The enemy, the other. I can move into their shoes. In the silence of contemplation, a greater good than my I can emerge. Okay? And then the fourth step, Brother Fire, I imitate. I act out of this is a new freedom. Okay? To let go of the ego is a new freedom. I have to be and to do something beyond my own ego. And this helps me to tap the source of energy and personal power that, as Fray Vittorio said, we've got parts of us that are been forgotten in our hearts. They're latent. Okay, so that the freedom of contemplation helps us to act, helps us to reach out and recognize these things. This is a type, it gives us a personal power and energy to engage in new ministries, or to return and go deeper into our present works. Okay? With the quote-unquote clarity of St. Clair comes the strength for me to take on new relationships or to go deeper with present ones. Oops. Yeah. Now, here's another approach to St. Clair's method of discernment. It has to do with gazing and considering those first two steps, okay? And we start out by saying the past is prologue, right? What lessons were learned from our ministries along the way, okay? This is a more existential approach to gazing and considering from what we had just talked about. Here are some questions to guide us. Just what did I do, really, in my ministries? Gwen didn't Google me. I gave her that bio sketch. And I sat down, listed some things. Now, it's good for all of us to do that, okay? We should all do that. And not so long ago, I took time to go back over my life as a religious, and to help me answer these very questions, just what did I do in my ministries? I found I asked another question. What is the first thing I think about when I think about myself at such and such a place in my life? What's the first thing? Because I felt that answer would give me what was most important, the biggest value, the most lasting thing, best thing, that marked my time in that ministry. So if you'll bear with me, I just want to share with you some of the reflections I came up with, just as examples, I want to invite you to think about doing the same thing. This is a method. This is the method of discerning ministry. Okay, that is part of St. Clair's method, but it's another approach. St. John's Grade School in Olean, New York. This was not in the bio, by the way. In the early 1960s, I always think first of the sisters I lived with. My first mission, Mother Marie Therese, Sister Consuela, Sister Ann Martin is with us today. And the kids were rascals. My first mission. The University of Scranton, that was mentioned. In the late 1970s, thought about right away my friends there, faculty and their spouses, and even students. Students would take me out for a beer after the evening classes. That stuck with me. There was a camaraderie. That's why I had my first beer, right? Living alone stuck with me, and living with Jane Copus. Sabbatical year 2001, that wasn't in the thing either, that you heard. I had a year, sabbatical. It wasn't strictly ministry. It was a pilgrimage. I went to 8 countries. I had a one-way ticket around the world. And I went to countries I had never been to before, and up to that point I had been to at least 30 countries in significant amounts of time. And that was because of the NGO work, the Franciscans International work. So I remember the Taj Mahal, the Elephant Orphanage in Sri Lanka, Pyramids of Egypt, the Gates at Nineveh in Iraq. All those things and many more, but what stayed with me all these years were really the people. The images of people that I met. A part of it is when you're traveling alone, you really perhaps are more connected, in touch with people along the way. Actual friendships formed. Falling in love a couple of times. I have to say, and that's another story for another time. And like way another time. And the people around me on 9/11, I was in Baghdad in Iraq on 9/11. Okay, then Hebron was mentioned. For 6 years I was there in the 2000s. Again, when I look back, it's the people. The Palestinian Muslims, especially, of course, my Christian Peacemaker team mates, the Israeli peaceniks. Yeah, it wasn't all on the side of the Muslims and Palestinians, but they were fantastic, valiant Israelis that we got to know and work with. And the Christian Palestinians, of course. The people, even while being in the Holy Land and walking the same roads and going to the same places Jesus did, it was the people that I met at the time, those 6 years. What I discovered in my reminiscences was that the most enduring highlights of my various ministries all these years were of relationships and processes, not of accomplishments that I could point to. I would not have guessed that at the time. And what I mean to say is that when I look back a second time, I can see that my energies were taken up then with the tasks at hand, right? I was meeting deadlines, I was, teaching classes, I was correcting papers, shopping, all these different things that we do. That's where my energies were going. But that's not what stayed in my mind as, that didn't last, okay? All of that. Would that be your experience, do you think? Was my heart set on fire then? In other words, where is Brother Fire in all of this? Was my heart set on fire? Was it set on fire in remembrance of my past ministries? When I look back under my eyes in the presence of Brother Fire, I found that there was for one, let's be on third thought, I found that there was a certain rootlessness about my life. There was a lot of movement and rootlessness in my ministry life. But at the same time, there was a certain playfulness or joy that Brother Fire could relate to. I could dance to a lot of different tunes, like a Brother Fire. I had his courage and robustness that routed out fear, or that would place fear on a lower rung of the totem pole, among other feelings. Now I invite you to do the same kind of thinking, okay? I'm saying that it's another way of doing gazing and considering, okay? In terms of ministry discernment, okay? One of the core values of our Allegany Franciscan charism, not the third order charism, not our mission, but our own spirit, is being at home with all people. It's in our Constitution. And this is another way of saying minority. When I consider this, then I have to say that perhaps our Allegany spirit is not so different from our mission. The broader values. We speak now not of retirement, but we speak of changing ministries. So we sort of have there's something ongoing. We speak of the ministry of presence as an essential quality of any activity that we might be engaged in, or as the service itself, the presence that we might offer someone else, a listening presence throughout the day. I know of relationships. We think of relationships. Oops. Ooh. How did I do that? Stop. Okay. Consider further. Well, there we go. So, considering further now, what, with our own sort of musings, what really was, after all, the ministry of St. Francis? What was the ministry of our recently loved and deceased sisters? The ones that we all considered yesterday, what was their ministry? And in our own lives looking back, how would we typify what we did? And what does this have to say about our ministry choices for the future? What is emerging or birthing within us? And during this chapter time, we're going to have the luxury of considering these kinds of questions with each of the topics of our chapter agenda through the eyes of Brother Fire. His ardor, his playfulness, his strength, they are ours because he personifies us. We are Brother Fire, right? Yo soy, right? Yo soy El Fuego, and so forth. Okay, we are Brother Fire. How are we gazing on, right? Contemplating, considering, contemplating, and then going to imitate him in these topics? When we think about these things, this is our challenge. And the ministries are individual. Mission is the whole, all of us, right? The whole thing. But each of us has a ministry, a here and now. I want to end this with a concluding thought. In the second life of Francis by Thomas of Celano, Francis was preparing to have his eyes cauterized. And he said, and I quote, "My brother Fire, that surpasses all other things in beauty. The Most High created you strong, beautiful, and useful. Be kind to me in this hour. Be courteous, for I have loved you in the past, in the Lord." End quote. This is, as Leclerc says, this is the language of lovers. And my prayer is that may it be ours in the relationships at the heart of our own individual ministries as we gaze and contemplate and consider. Well, thank you.
Kathy, thank you. And that will be done more formally later. Sisters and brothers, as I listen to Kathy's unfolding of this chapter theme of mission and ministries, I'm going to set the context for the afternoon now, and then we'll have a more extended period of silence. So, Ellen, if we could have the table reflection questions placed before us. It would seem to me that what must inform these reflection questions this afternoon is that you have an opportunity to do what Kathy did, to contemplate your own life of ministry and the enduring gift, perhaps the endearing gift of conversion through that call to many ministries. These are the three questions that we have before you this afternoon. You will find that same stream of image moving through the questions related to chapter agenda. What sets your heart afire with the theme of mission and ministry? What personal and communal attitudes and behaviors are needed to more fully incarnate the Franciscan charism to be the fire in our times? And lastly, as we contemplate mission and ministry, what is emerging or birthing within us? I would suggest that begin this reflection with something of the memory and the mystery of your own various calls to ministry. What is enduring gift? And then, if these first two questions are helpful, resourceful, what sets your heart afire in this memory? And then personal, communal attitudes and behaviors needed to be the fire in these times. As a table response form, we ask particularly that you attend to the third question. As you contemplate Franciscan mission and ministry, what is emerging or birthing? I'm going to suggest we take the next 12-15 minutes for your personal reflection, for a time of silent reflection. And now the dialogue. This is about contemplative listening. Listen deeply to the longing, the desire. Please do not interrupt or overspeak or hold side conversations while one is speaking. Be certain all speak and that your table has a scribe. Hold it for a sec, sisters. We're doing some translation. Okay. Do we have the translation? All right, we need to. A translator by the microphone.
I'm not hearing.
Come, please. Or Joe, please. Sisters, this is important now. The questions are on the screen. I think the request is that there be a translation here at the microphone of these questions. What I would ask, please, is that the first and second be something of an impulse or guide into. It is particularly the third question of emerging or birthing. We're going to have until 3:10 for this dialogue. I will come and use the gong at close to 3:10 to give time to write on the table response form. So would you please translate?
As perguntas são as seguintes, para a nossa reflexão. O que faz seu coração arder com o tema missão e ministério? Quais atitudes e comportamentos pessoais e comunitários são necessários para encarnar mais plenamente o carisma franciscano para sermos o fogo nos dias de hoje? Ao contemplar missão e ministério, o que está emergindo ou nascendo dentro de nós? A Carmelita também disse que para a gente levar esse tempo no momento de contemplação, de deixar cada pessoa falar, sem interromper e sem ter qualquer conversa ao lado, para escutar mesmo. Ela também falou o seguinte, que é para a gente conversar sobre as primeiras duas, mas, mais importante, a terceira pergunta: o que está emergendo ou nascendo? E nós vamos ter, de agora até 3:10, para este momento de contemplação e partilha. E que ela vai fazer um sinal um pouco antes, 10 minutos antes, para a gente tomar nota da nossa conversa.
Thank you. Thank you. And I need to say, I believe on each table, there are the forms for the languages spoken at that table, correct? All right. Thank you. Thank you. So I invite you now to the dialogue.
Sendo hoje aqui, nesse lugar, vejo isso o caminho dos convertidos, dessa vida. Levaram para nós uma vida, se adaptaram à nossa vida com paixão. Como também vejo no Brasil, nós brasileiros saindo da sua casa, da sua vida, indo para as cidades que a Rosemary está bonito diz que ministério é serviço. E vejo também testemunhos vivos nessas pessoas todas, uma alegria, uma generosidade em servir sempre. Então, o que faz arder no coração é que na missão do ministério eu vejo o Deus vivos.
Missão é
gente enxerga, ouve e vai em auxílio do necessitado. Através disso, a gente se torna portadores do Evangelho, levando a paz, a esperança. É isto que me faz meu coração arder quando eu posso ser esse elo, essa ajuda para os outros.
Não encontrei pessoas alegres e bondosas. Tem valores pessoais. Naquele momento, eu não sabia o que era vocação. Nem com 11 anos, quando fui para o seminário. Mas eu sabia que era um fato bom e alegre. Estou aqui hoje por causa dessa experiência.
Yo era una niña de 6 a 7 años. Yo conozco las hermanas franciscanas de Allegany fueron a nuestra a mi pueblecito donde yo vivía. Era la misión de las hermanas franciscanas de Allegany. Yo las conocí a ellas, eran hermanas americanas. Y lo que me cautivó desde esa edad fue la alegría, la simplicidad y el respeto para el ser. El respeto del ser. Por isso, yo estoy aquí. Y por eso yo pienso que es importante tener esas cualidades: caridad, compasión, amor, respeto al ser humano, dedicación, fidelidad, fe. Alegría.
Temos muita lenha para queimar.
Outra coisa é continuar sendo a voz dos menos favorecidos. Eu coloquei também continuar sendo a mulheres de paz e diálogo. Portadores do Evangelho, a espiritualidade franciscana. Eu acho que continuar, não é que não sejamos, mas continuar. Ou seja, tem esse fogo, mas temos que continuar pondo as lenhas, né? Para que não se apague.
Please, particular attention to the third question. We will break at 3:15. So in these next 10 minutes, what is it that your group wants to say about what is emerging or birthing regarding mission and ministry? Thank you.
Ouvir Deus e ouvir o clamor.
tornou doce.
It is time for a break. Please do take one. When you have your paper table response form ready, please leave at the recording secretary's table. We will reconvene at 3:45, so listen for the bell. Thank you. Enjoy.
Pagou quanto? Oh, tão pouco. She went down to spend $7 in the thrift shop. And then they found out she was a sister, so we gave it back.
And I'm determined to not have this it's so easy to start 5 minutes late and it's 5 minutes instead. I just mean I've got this thing called the gadget. I should have my car cameras. Yeah. I only have one of these. I know. I have 2 of these. But anyway, I put mine in a small bit of this it's true. These ministries. It's really lasting. That's why I move it to a full memory. And the shoe is and the appreciation. Oh, yes. Can you hear the silence? It's a great I'm convinced with these chapters, they take enormous humility. It is just hard. And all this assemblies, real. What time was it supposed to be? When I was in a rabbit hole, being back about 3:45. 3:40. Okay. I was, baby. Yeah, I was down a rabbit hole typing PowerPoint slides. So. What was that? It's not all of a sudden, all this over here, it's not just chapter. Oh no, but all this work. Carmelita, you want some vacation?
No, sister, I'm waiting for someone. I have cold lemonade.
I didn't see you, but I heard you last night, and you were maravillosa.
I thought so too.
You are, you were beautiful.
No, thank you. It was very good experience. I really, really loved.
You never know.
I lost my fingers.
Well, isn't that great? Beautiful.
What set your heart on fire? The thought that our mission was starting when we
It is both what? Starting.
starting point and ending point in our lives. Our mission. Our starting and our ending.
I think our mission never ends.
Because I still see this Melissa around.
We are in the shoulder of the system.
So I'm gonna stay here. Here, when we get to this, now I'm gonna move this right up to the large cells. And then, we do this specific thing.
Never ends.
Because I thought we were gonna stop to call on you to do that, okay? And then we're going into this, staff. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay, yes, yes. Thank you. We can fill the booth. Okay. Yeah. Half hour behind. But we'll have it for about 4:20 for this large section. And then I'm gonna transition right to you, okay? And then you're doing this little bit. Right. Which is that staff. Tell all this just read through these for you. Friday, 9 a.m., new table seating in the chapel room. Perhaps come a few minutes early, find a new table. 2, our sister mother Earth needs immediate help this closing in the chapel planning committee room. Emerging warmth needs at 6:15 this evening in the chapel planning committee room. We ask that one person at each table assume responsibility to light and extinguish the table lamps. And then a lost phone number list is found on the pad. I do recognize the name Joe Bertella. Pull it up and smile. Yeah, these keys were just brought to me. Sarah, would it help to be something? Let's put it on. Otherwise, it just gets distracting with all this other stuff. Okay. And if you see Melissa, if I see her, tell her you say to see her. Yeah, she was going to meet me here, and she's requested it, but anyway. Okay. Yeah, there's still 15 minutes. I figure if I go try to find her, she'll walk in here. Did you, is Margaret McGee over there? No. No, I saw her go through. Okay. Good, good. Thank you. All right. Yes. What I could see as it relates to our
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Grace. They don't put that table, what table is that? Ah, because we will share, isn't it? Oh, we got it. Yeah, I'm going to put them over there. Okay. So, what their names? Their names on it, so when I call the name. Pretty. Pretty quick. Yes.
We have to know, get a sense of the gifts.
So when it is time, okay?
Oh, okay, yeah, but
When I
I
call
don't want
each
to,
name.
let me look at the names so I get a
Okay,
sense
let
of
me
what
see.
names are where, so I won't be rooting it too much.
María Elena, María González.
How about Oneida?
Oneida. Yes, it's
Call the volunteer list first, okay?
Oh, okay,
And then I'll call then the general.
All right,
list. I'll
then.
give this to you because I have it written,
okay.
so you know which one to pick. Okay?
Thank you, that's good, all right.
Yeah, you talk very
Was
good.
it? Thank you.
And it gave us a springboard to.
Yeah, oh, good, that's what I was hoping. Naturally, yes. Okay, thank you, thanks for your introduction. That,
No, you can
that
put
went
over
well.
there in
Yeah,
the meantime.
I will, as soon as I just check.
Ding, ding. Would you like to go on that?
Yes, I would like to.
We will go on when we get ourselves back. Let me see what time it is. Maybe
Well, I will
or 1:45. Would you like to ring that big mother house bell? Where is it? Well, no. Ellen has it, but you know, she's trying to do it all the time. Why don't you tell her you talked to me? And I said, oh, there she is back there. That maybe you could split it up so she's not having to do it all the time. But you have to be sure to do it. It's a huge help. Okay.
Is it time?
No. But soon. It's about 3:37. There's one back here. In the hall.
Right, I do have 5 minutes.
About 7.
When I was a novice, I was assigned to clean that out. Nobody knew about it. When I was a novice, I was assigned to clean. Nobody knew that. It had never been cleaned in the years that some people, this was the reaction. There was like grime all over. And I'm going to do the ceiling and the walls. And my novice sisters got in. Because nobody knew. So I got in trouble. Well, 10 years.
Y más Carmelita. Vamos a hacer alguma coisa aí na frente. Vamos fazer uma coisa. Carmelita. Let's do something when we get in
Tell me your name. I have to get you people straight. Tell me your name.
Jamaica. Yeah, Tunisia. No, it's Deixa eu lembrar a letra. Não tem memória, Espero que tenha internet aí, ou as pilhas bem carregadas. Levanta o missionário.
Você não pode fazer aquela, sobe como base no internet, não é? Você desce no chão. Maria da Paz, anda pra frente.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Like a real school bell. Did you have a school bell?
Yeah, we did, but we don't remember like our kids out there.
Listen, we still have 5 minutes. But I'll get you, when you see me go up there, pick that up. Listen, they're all there. Don't be worried. There she is. Melissa, we've got 3 minutes.
Atenção, todas as pessoas usando o aparelho, por favor, o Frei José vai fazer um teste agora para verificar que tudo está funcionando. Então, por favor, liga todos os aparelhos.
I'm told to hold it with an open hand. Okay. And right near the microphone. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love my job.
Tanitia asked if she could gong the sisters in. She also thought that Mother House bell needed to be rung like a schoolhouse bell. So, dear sisters and brothers, this is a time of communal listening. And before we do that, actually, we're going to have a few moments here of playfulness. So, will you get on your feet, please? We're going to keep ourselves moving and alive for about an hour. Okay, here we go. Not too long. Not too long, not too long.
Ok. Tem que ser rápido. Cadê a irmã T? Nós somos as Terezetes. Terezetes. Hoje nós vamos cantar uma das músicas da Pastoral da Criança no Brasil, que diz que nós temos que ser missionários e ir para o mundo levar a boa nova. Você não sabe a música, não? Ok, perdão, mas eu sou desafinada para cantar. Vocês já sabem. Levanta, missionário, vai levar a boa nova. Levanta, missionário, vai levar a boa nova. Vamos plantar o amor. Que a vida se renova. Vamos plantar o amor, põe a vida se renova. Põe o pé na estrada, ergue as mãos pro céu. Põe o pé na estrada, ergue a mão pro céu. A luta é grande, mas a justiça de Deus é fiel. A luta é grande, mas a justiça de Deus é fiel. Eu vou, eu vou, eu vou. Quem vai, quem vai, quem vai? Eu vou, eu vou, eu vou. Quem vai, quem vai, quem vai? Na barca dos missionários, construtores do reino do Pai. Na barca dos missionários, construtores do reino do Pai.
Why not, huh? We are grateful. Now, dear women and men, it's the moment to listen deeply to one another, to the movement of God's Spirit in this whole circle. So I invite you now, if each table would, with the clarity and the brevity of yesterday's example, if you would speak to the grace and the energy. We are particularly mindful of what is emerging or birthing within us. Thank you.
Probably not the quickest way to go. I saw this face first.
We're sitting here thinking, what did we write? But one of the things that we did talk about is that sometimes we wonder if it's more about the birthing first and then the emerging. And we felt that we have moved from doing to being a presence with people. And we talked about the fact that sometimes in our world, people really need someone to listen to them because a whole lot of people don't do that. And so for us, out of that spiritual stance, to be able to sit with another, to hold sacred their story, and we feel that in that process that we can help people to be able to let go and to become free. And how we do that as far as mission and ministry moving forward, we're just not sure, but the importance of it.
We are on table 5, and our response was to be more clear and concrete in relation to the earth and respond to the issues of violence in our world, working together towards a culture of peace and justice. Our second bullet point was, how will we respond to our youth, to those who are trafficked, gun violence, poverty, drugs, all of which is a result of the harm that and the way we treat our Mother Earth.
You might say we went back to the basics and thinking of Francis walking along the street. The only thing God has asked us to do is to love one another. Our mission is to use the gifts God has given us to witness to God's love for everyone, whether we are volunteering or in an assigned ministry. We can listen to the needs of those around us and encourage, assist, and inspire them by our love for them to give to others and to grow in the gifts that God has given each one of them.
We said, deepen our listening and insights through prayer, which will lead us into various ministries in which we can share the gospel, as well as provide us with nourishment and enrichment. Conscious awareness that sometimes we choose ministry and sometimes the ministry chooses us. Continue to journey with others and being in relationship with... Continue to journey with others and being in relationship with others. This also allows us to grow and be nurtured as Franciscan women, despite our differences and similarities. Find new and exciting ways of living and sharing the good news of the gospel as Franciscan religious women, regardless of age and ailments.
From table 9. Choose life. Focus on one initiative. Work together to identify the poor and marginalized in your own areas. And dare to leave the places we are and go to places and persons where we are needed more.
Depois de cada encontro, cada reflexão e diálogo, After every meeting, every
Cresce-
reflection, and
cresce
every
em
dialogue,
nós o desejo de ser melhor.
we desire to become better.
Abertura ao presente, aqui e agora.
We need to be open to the present, the here and now.
Ser presença amorosa, silenciosa, mantendo a cabeça e o coração abertos em qualquer lugar ou circunstâncias que estejamos. Lá embaixo, na última. Manter a cabeça.
Shall they? Hang on a minute. I'm trying to get her writing here. Você tá onde?
Na terceira aqui, na segunda linha. Ser presença amorosa.
To be a loving presence, to be silent, to maintain our hearts and our heads open, no matter where we are, to exchange experiences at all levels, so that we can be enriched and encouraged to be and witness that which we promise to our congregation.
Ok. Terminou, né? Porque você leu a última.
We're done.
A última eu vou repetir porque acho que ficou faltando o último pedacinho.
Okay, one section more she wants to
Unidas,
add.
que possamos nos sentir iluminadas pelo Cristo vivo e ressuscitado, que se abre ao diálogo conosco no caminho. E temos que ser animadas pelo Espírito Santo de Deus para o ministério da escuta do Cristo em nossa vida.
United, we can feel that we are enlightened by the living Christ, who starts our dialogues, who follows us on the path, and who keeps encouraging us through his Spirit to a deeper listening.
For table number 3, and I have to tell you that it was a very beautiful experience because they mentioned, all of us mentioned little pieces of life, and that was very nourishing, was wonderful. But to summarize, legacy and continuous response, joy and lightheartedness, happiness in the Lord, happiness and freedom. The more we love, the freer and happier we are, and we are more able to give. Be where Jesus is for me. Spirituality needs to be at the root of who we are, and we need to cultivate it.
This is from table number 11. The background was most interesting. I wish we could share more of that with you, but we have come up with 8 major points of what is emerging. Fear that we cannot remain in our comfort zones. We must renounce the evil around us. Emerging desire to visit the outskirts, to be with the people, and a desire to pray, to do something for someone. Emerging is an understanding of the distinction between mission and ministry, and also a desire to bring peace as a mediator. Emerging enthusiasm for ministries that we already have done and that we do, and hearing the cry of the people, whatever the cry is for. Witness the gospel, bringing the spirit of prayer and the presence of hope. Emerging, the necessity to keep eyes and ears opened and to risk. To move to the periphery, to be with the poor, to be a presence and to share. There's an emerging understanding of the connection between ministry and our own spiritual journey, and how important it is to discern where God wants you and to be there as best you can. Emerging understanding of the importance of relationships in ministry and the importance of giving attention to being and to listening.
Table number 2, the observation was made at the beginning of our discussion that for our sisters who are declining in health or clearly in pain, that they seem to burn ever more brightly, even as their physical bodies diminish. So what emerged for us then out of that was the call to be conscious of our own need to burn ever more brightly as we stroke our own fire through contemplation and prayer. And only then can we be fire and warmth for others. We pointed out the difference between walking into a room and noticing the whole crowd of people and really seeing each individual person and responding to the individual with those individuals that have so much value and dignity, and to acknowledge that. So that ministry and our mission is related to those individual, special, unique relationships. We talked about the need to recognize that others can be fire for us, just as we are fire for others. We talked about the fact that every ministry we have ever done in our lives prepares us for what we are doing now and what we will do in the future, so that nothing is lost. It's a constantly unfolding tapestry, so that everything prepares us for the next way of being.
We are table 12, and our first thing was to come to that we have come to a greater awareness of the gift of our very presence and love and wisdom to the world. We also have a deeper desire to know and be Christ, and to take that to the world and to share it in all our relationships, being sent by the Spirit. We mentioned walking in the shoes of another, that we see emerging a greater awareness of how we can birth the spirit of our charism into a wider world, that we have a more global view now. Working better together and being willing to take risks, whether those risks are entering into new ministries or going deeper into our present ministries. And the last one is creating environments that welcome people, children, everyone into our lives, and to see it as a service, not as a job.
And this is table number 13. And for number 2, we mentioned some of the attitudes or behaviors that we felt were needed to be, to more fully incarnate the Franciscan charism and be the fire. And one of those was courage, and the ability to continue to move forward into what we are called, and to be aware of the other. And what is emerging or birthing in us? The call to encounter the other where they are. The desire to continue and deepen what we are doing, and allow that to be birthed in us, to seize and be aware of the opportunities before us, and a desire to overcome any fear that may inhibit us from being free to encounter the other.
This is table 4, and what we have are questions which we really see as challenges. Can we be the loving presence of Jesus? Can we be, together with others, to help the crowds who want to see Jesus? Can we announce life in a culture of death? Can we begin anew? Can we utilize the energy felt here regardless of country or language? Can we truly be at home with all people? And can we be united and promote unity?
This is table 14. In light of what Father was talking about this morning and reflecting with the realization that our first chapter was held here in Alleghany many years ago, and the focus is what brought them on Mother Teresa's to meet the needs of the people, and what are those needs today that we maybe are being called to. So we would like to focus together as a community on nonviolence, that we may do it in different ways to bring about peace. Second, we want to identify the forms of violence and how we can personally, communally, and in our ministries respond to that. And third, that we make a commitment to nonviolence until the next chapter.
This is from Table 1. There are many similar themes here. Not letting our diminishment be a major factor in our lives. The fire is the energy to be with the people. The unique Allegany charism is being at home with all people. The fire is going beyond my fears, myself, where you would not think you would tread, a God walk. Responding to others who are birthing the kingdom of God. The desire to be active in response to violence, anger, hatred. In prayer, ask God to open our hearts. Ask God, what should I say? The need for peace thinking, to dialogue, and therefore the need of the Holy Spirit.
And from Table 10, we observed that when we talk about ministry, it's a way of going out of our Franciscan spirituality that we were talking about yesterday, that ministry is a way that we go out. We also observed that ministry changes us, it transforms us as we reflected on our own ministries that we've had and how our own attitudes and outlooks can change because of who we're with and how we are. We stress the importance of being in ministry in community with other people, in relationship with other people. A lot of things that have been said, Francis changed not only his attitudes, but also sometimes his place geographically. He went out of the city, outside the walls, and what might be emerging is that we're called to go out to where the poor are and where the marginalized are, and to go to places that are crying out for the presence of sisters, of our presence. And then we also observed that one of the things that keeps us back from that sometimes is the need for a salary position, and serving the poor might not provide that. Not a good note to end on, but...
This Table 6 here. With regard to what sets our heart on fire has a lot to do with the people. Going out to the people. The U.S. sisters in Brazil who have changed places and left their comfort zones and then the Brazilian sisters who have come here, and sisters leaving their own countries to serve people. Reading the signs of the times sets hearts on fire, and where people are treated as objects sets people's hearts on fire. The thought that our mission is both starting and ending point of our lives, that it never ends and is passed on from one sister to the next. Being a point of contact with the people and energized by the people at the same time. Feeling at home with the people, and hearts on fire when talents meet the needs of the people. Now, personal and communal attitudes, being brother and sister, being living models of humility, simplicity, joy, and the courage to light the wood in oneself for the fire. And then finally, we have 4 things under emerging. That the fire needs to be in me, the need to be open to what is new, of ongoing conversion, the recognition when energy is going out or into me as a sign of God's inspiration, and to find joy in the darkness of contemplation, especially when we don't like what we must do or undergo.
Well, on behalf of the Chapter Planning Committee, we express our gratitude for your excellent participation throughout the day. We are so grateful. And now, Sister Gwen will express our gratitude to Kathy and to others.
Just before we move into the last phase of the day's activities, I'd just like to thank Kathy for her insightful and very moving presentation this afternoon, and of course to Chris, who enlightened us and informed us about our finances. So thank you for the energy that you put into it, the time and so forth, so that, we could have some understanding of, where we're at and where we're going. And thank you to all of you for your continued presence and your participation. So thanks for the day. Okay. Thank you. And just to move into the last phase, because I do not intend to plagiarize, I'm going to say, I am going to borrow a phrase from the welcome letter in your folders, the folders that you have, to say this. What's that? Thanks. Okay. A joke. One can't. He just won't come. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, while we wait for the staff to come, your announcements for today. On Friday, which is tomorrow morning at 9, when you come to this conference room, all of us will change our tables. So we are asking that you come a little earlier so you have time to look for your table. Okay. As at tomorrow, when you come at 9, actually we are asking you to come a little earlier so that you will have time to look for the table at which you will be sitting for the next 2 days, because there will be a change of tables. Okay? The next point, our Sister Mother Earth Committee meets immediately after the closing of today's activities in the CPC room. That's the Sister Mother Earth Committee. The third announcement, emerging forms will meet at 6:15 this evening in the CPC room. The fourth announcement, we're asking that one person takes the responsibility to light and extinguish the candle at the table as at tomorrow. Okay? And lastly, we have a telephone, I have a piece of paper with a listing of telephone numbers. It was found somewhere outside. So if anybody lost a listing of telephone numbers, I have it. Please see me. Okay? All right. Thank you, Margaret. So we can now move into our last session for the day. And I'm going to begin again by saying that I do not intend to plagiarize, because I'm going to borrow a phrase from the welcome letter in your folders to say this. With joyful anticipation of hope, we journeyed faithfully to the highest point of our congregational life, General Chapter. So at this time, I convey special gratitude on behalf of the entire congregation and the chapter body to all our sister volunteers in the Generalate and the Generalate staff for your faithful and generous service in preparation for this chapter. I will therefore acknowledge each person by calling out your name and would ask that you remain standing as we acknowledge you. And so we're going to also ask you to stand until we pray the prayer or sing the blessing of St. Francis over here. Okay? So now I will call the names of the sister volunteers. Sandy Stevens, and would you come forward, please? Vicky Master Paul. Pamela Genelu. Alma Robert. Mary Arguito. Jerry Donovan. Francis Martello. Francis Odell. And John Kevin McNulty. For the Generalate staff, Steve Blue. Can you come forward, please? Dennis Bunkhatch. Jean Finch. Susan Hines. Kate Mail. Cora Martin. Ellen Weaver. Ellen Wigner. And Lisa God's Goodwill. Okay, do we have everyone? So at this time, I would ask that we stand and sing the blessing of St. Francis as we raise our right hands toward them. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May He show His face to you and have mercy. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. May He turn to you His countenance and give you peace. The Lord bless you. Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much. You can now go to supper and have a good evening.